Welcome to Jake Rates, or whatever I call this. Tonight I will be blind tasting 4 different whiskeys. Here are the ones I'll be blind tasting. This is the Knob Creek Small Batch. This is a pretty common whiskey. Should not have much trouble finding this. It is 100 proof, small batch. It is, it is what it is. Next is the High West Distillery Double Rye. This is also fairly ubiquitous where I am, so hopefully it's not too difficult for you. Next is another rye, which is a Dickel, which is one of the kind of common brands from what I've heard. I've never tried anything else from them. I bought this maybe 2 years ago and opened it up a little more than a year ago, just to try my first rye, just to try it. But I didn't want to get an expensive one in case I didn't like rye. I had no idea. So I bought that one. And then this last one is really just a mix that I've been making of everything that I've been drinking. Whenever I drink, I just put a little bit of what I'm drinking into this. I call it the master mix. I don't really remember exactly how much I put in of what, so it'll be kind of interesting to see when I taste it, if I can tell what's been put in there or how much, and I hope that something isn't kind of ruining it yet. Did make a couple mixes so far of my own kind of concoction, and I liked what I did, but at the same time I've realized a little bit of the smoke and peat goes a long way, and I think this probably has a little too much of something. I don't know what, but it'll be interesting to try what it is right now, and also see if I can tell the difference between these 4. There's 2 ryes, and then a normal kind of bourbon, and then one that has bourbon and other stuff in it. So it'll be fun to see if I can taste the difference and guess which one is right, and see which one I do like the best without even having to think about what is on the label. So please, hope you enjoy. I'll definitely take any comments into consideration as long as they're nice. If they are mean, I immediately forget them. So, I mean, feel free to send them in. I'll just ignore them and pretend I never saw them and cry alone at night. What I have in front of me is a blind taste of 4 different drinks, all bourbons. I have filled them up, put invisible ink on the little stickers here, and then had my wife mix them up, and then I wrote numbers on them so I know 1, 2, 3, 4, but I don't know which one corresponds to which drink. So the 4 I'm going to be blind tasting is this Knob Creek, this Double Rye from High West Whiskey, this Dickel Rye that I've had for too long, and then this is just a mix. I've been throwing in a little bit of everything I have whenever I drink. Just throw it in here, some big master mix. So I'm curious how that will fare against everything else. So I guess I'm just going to start. I'm going to put everything to the side. And I'll start with the number 1. Not too strong. A little hot. Definitely spice. This seems like there's definitely a rye. This is number 1. First taste and smell, I'm guessing this is the Dickel, but I could be wrong. This could be the Knob Creek. Based on my memory of what Knob Creek kind of, it's a little hot. Second one's better. Okay. That was the lightest one, both in mainly in color. This one's definitely the darkest one, number 2. This smells a lot sweeter. Not as hot. Not much rye. Mm. It's a long-lasting flavor, though. It's a good tail. Still feel it. Still taste it. That was not bad. That was not bad. Okay, number 3. Kind of in the middle of the coloring. Oh, this smells like smoke. I'm guessing this is probably my mix because I threw in some Lagavulin in there. But let's taste it and see how it tastes. Oh, so smoky. God. Lagavulin. Yep. Maybe a little bit of bourbon. Definitely some Freud. That's definitely the mix. Definitely the master mix that I've been throwing together. It's not bad, but it's really overpowering with the smoke and the leather from the Lefroy. That's gonna need a lot more to balance it out. A lot more bourbon probably to sweeten it up maybe, and you know, maybe just a lot more of anything but peat and smoke. Because that's pretty overpowering. It is really tasty though. Surprisingly smooth too. That's pretty good. I think the Lafroig doesn't have enough smoke, and the Lagavulin has there's not necessarily not enough of that leatheriness that Lafroig does, but that's actually a decent mix between the two. But let's go back to number 4. This tastes way different than all the other ones. Ooh, that's way more interesting. That is not too hot. This tastes like a rye. There's some interesting flavors in here. Little grass, a little bit of some, I guess some kind of sweet, dark fruit. That's pretty back there. It's definitely a lot of the rye. That might be my favorite of the 4 so far. So far, we know this is the mix, like, for sure. I think this is the Dickel. So that leaves these two, the Knob Creek and the High West. Let me taste this one again and see. I think this one is the Knob Creek, but let me see. Yeah, there's definitely less rye flavor from this one in this one. This one has less. And the Knob Creek isn't the rye, it's just the small batch Knob Creek. Pretty sure that's what that's going to be. And this is going to be the High West, and it's the Dickel. Just really because I remember not really liking the Dickel too much, and it was one of the things. It was the heat, and this is so burning. It doesn't have as many good flavors as this one. I'm gonna be super mad if this turns out to be the Dickel. Because this one has way more interesting flavors in it. Definitely, these two are definitely the ryes. And this one just tastes better. A little bit more balanced, a little bit more sweet. Not as hot. That's a lot better. Okay, I'm gonna get the little light to illuminate the hidden markings, and we'll see if I was right. So I'm guessing this is, so let me rank them. This is my favorite. I liked my mix, but it's really a little bit overpowering. So probably this one second, and then this one was way last. The heat and the not too many things in there. Just not too interesting. It just is. So I think this is the Dickel. I think this is the Knob Creek. This is the Master Mix, and I think this is the High West. So let's see. We think this is the Dickel. High West double rye. Oh wow, that's gonna be unfortunate for me. That's gonna be unfortunate. And this should be the Knob Creek KB or KC. Yep, KC right there. This should have an infinity symbol for the infinity bottle. Yep, I see it right there. And this is going to be the Dickel. I wrote Dickel on it. Wow, I like the Dickel a lot more. Who knew? This is why you do blind tests. I knew I had 2 ryes in here. I knew I had 2 non-ryes in here. I was curious about the Knob Creek because the Knob Creek had a really strong flavoring to it. It reminded me of a rye. It was a little bit spicy, a little bit hard. But I wasn't sure how it would actually stand up to ryes. But it's very different. It's not really comparable between an actual rye, but it's definitely different than any from most of the bourbons I've been drinking. I think I'd be able to taste this one out in a mix because it kind of has a unique flavor, which is good. This wasn't my favorite, and so but I knew the 2 ryes I had were these 2. I was able to separate those 2 out, but I got them mixed up. I remember really loving the High West that I've drinking before. This is the double rye. And I remember not really liking the Dickel. The Dickel has been open for a lot longer. It's been open for over a year. The High West only for a couple weeks, maybe 1 week. Maybe that has something to do with it. The complexity just allows it to kind of breathe more and exist more. But it definitely isn't as hot. Maybe that should have been in the queue because the Dickel is only 90 proof, and whereas the High West is 46. So that extra 1% apparently is super detectable. Maybe it's the double ryeness of it that's making it seem so hot. Thinking about it and drinking about it now, I don't taste actually so much alcohol. It is more spicy, which is kind of similar in that heatness. So maybe that's what it is, thinking about it and drinking it. But also maybe that could be just my bias from knowing that this is the Double West, or the High West Double Rye, and me wanting to like it. Because I really loved the ones I've had from that distillery before. And the Dickel was some cheapy thing I had bought just to have a rye as my first rye years ago. But anyway, this is why I definitely recommend doing the blind taste, even just alone in your own home, just so you can see, just so you can be able to get over any kind of bias that you may have and just try it and have fun. Just doesn't even need to be the exact same from the exact same distillery, the exact same type of whiskey, right? I have 2 ryes, 2 non-ryes, didn't matter. It was all interesting to take the flavors. I do think that you probably should have some type of balance in maybe 2 ryes and then 2 non-ryes, so you can see the difference while you're drinking between a rye and a non-rye, but then also be able to try to tell the difference between the 2 things. Maybe you have 2 scotches, just so you can try and tell the difference between those 2 scotches, whereas I had one Knob Creek bourbon and the other one was a mix that was way smoky. That was super obvious what it was. That was not really too much fun to kind of try and guess. But otherwise, I had a lot of fun, and it was really interesting to see the taste difference between these 2, which I would have thought it was switched, but it wasn't. So hope you had fun listening. I definitely had fun drinking. I will have fun drinking the rest of these 4. And till next time, I guess, drink responsibly, I guess, and drive slow and wash your hands.